Good morning, day 22. And guess what? It's raining. It's really raining. So there's probably raindrops on this lens. Got a lot to tell you about last night, and but I think I'm going to have to find a shelter before I do that. But I hope your day/evening is starting off okay, and we'll talk soon. Well, the rain has let up a bit, and so I'll give you a proper good morning. I expect it's going to be on and off rain all day, but I am prepared for that. I have my lighter pack, which is much better, and it's about 8 or 9 miles today, so not a huge long day. A little bit of incline, but not too much. So yesterday at the Jorundgard Medieval Center, it was a very interesting night. That medieval center was the basis for, it was actually used as an outdoor prop scene for a 1995 movie that was directed by Liv Ullmann. And it was based on a trilogy written by one of Norway's most prolific authors, a female who was the first female to win the Nobel Prize for Literature. And she is a favorite daughter of Norway. Anyway, they now use it as an authentic medieval village. They do craft demonstrations and all kinds of things like that. Plus, they have a big, kind of a meeting hall. And yesterday, people from all around the neighborhood, probably, I don't know, maybe 100 people, showed up for the Norway football match. And so after dinner, I went over. They had a big screen set up and projector, and they were streaming it from YouTube. So that was fun to be in with the Norwegians, who were all excited about that. And then someone asked the question, what was it like to have to share a room now with this other pilgrim? Well, this other pilgrim didn't materialize. So I had 8 beds to myself, and it was actually a very comfortable room. I had my down quilt, and I had electricity to charge my power bank, and the only downside was the bathroom was way the heck on the other side of the property. So you just have to be strategic about that. But I'll show you what the safety mechanism was as far as the door was concerned. So I felt truly safe when I barred the door and got ready for bed and tucked myself in. There was no way anybody was going to be getting into that. But it was super dark. I had to set the alarm on my phone because normally I've been getting up with the light, 4 o'clock, 4:30, and then I treat myself to going back to sleep. But it was so dark, I didn't wake up on the early side, so I had to set an alarm. Anyway, that's leaving, and I'm now going to the Dovreskogren guest house, where I hear there's a washing machine. So I'm pretty stoked about that. Oh, when I went after breakfast, which I'll show you here, it was a beautiful breakfast. I went for one final time to the restroom, and there were other people staying at the medieval center, people, not pilgrims, just the general public. And there was a man in the restroom brushing his teeth, and a woman using a curling iron. Can you imagine a curling iron? No, as I looked at her, I thought, oh, the simple pleasures of life, you know, back in the day when I used to use a curling iron. But anyway, so enough about that. We'll talk about other things along the way. And by the way, since it's been raining, I have seen more benches and more picnic tables than ever before. Of course, I don't want to sit down on them, but there are a lot of them. Please take the path to the right. Do not cross the railroad tracks. Well, I don't know where the railroad tracks are, but I definitely am taking the path to the right. A little bit of a gnarly path up ahead. For another 3/4 of a mile, there was a ladder going up and this ladder going down, thankfully, because there's no way I could have climbed down these rocks. But 3/4 of a mile on this. Well, those are the train tracks that they don't want us to cross. And here's, I don't know what exactly, but we will find out. It's about another half mile on this. And I've gone about 2 miles in an hour and a half. It's been slow going, and that's because you know what happens when leaves and pine needles and roots and rocks get wet. It's very, very slippery, along with a fair amount of mud. So, taking it easy all the way down. Oh my, so I guess just got myself down this ladder, read the sign, keep off the railroad track, which of course I will. And it's a little grassy area, and the reward for going through all of that is, look at that, just gorgeous. Coming right up to the pilgrim table for a little stop, and I see there's someone who's already had his snack. He and his buddies are just going down the path. I wonder if, no, they're not taking my path. Well, I've come out of the woods onto a street, and there's the way marker right there. It's not raining anymore, but it has turned a little cold, so I'm just protecting my ears with my hood. Probably take it off soon. Things are really, really damp, and you get cold along with the damp, and it's not a good thing. So I'll share one. As I was going through the forest, I thought about one of the most annoying things when you're walking through trees, and that is, and this happens quite regularly, just a stray spider web crosses your face. And it's not a whole spider web, it's just like one strand crosses your face. And then, it's like the size of a strand of hair. And then, of course, you got your poles and you're trying to wipe it off your face. And early on, I used to be very, I'd get out my hanky, and not anymore. I just go like that on my face, because I know it'll be the first time of probably 100 that day, and it's not going to make any difference. But it is kind of annoying. Got a few goats over on the side, and as I'm walking down this very peaceful road, a fighter jet just screamed overhead, and it was definitely not something I was expecting to see or hear. It was extremely loud. It's about 3.5 miles in. I think I've reached the tallest peak here, and it's about 10:30, so 2.5 hours to do 3.5 miles. Gotta pick up the pace here. We got some little sheep to greet me down this road. I'm told that these sheep probably belong to this farm over here, but I'm told that the sheep can just wild graze. They're not grazing much on this street, but they can wild graze anywhere, and the farmers just need to check on them once a week to check their welfare. And from when Ross and I were hiking in England, we learned from a sheep farm that sheep will not travel more than 2 miles away from where they were born. So we've got 2 littles and a mommy here. Hello, sheep. Mommy's taking them to safer place. I don't believe it, but here when my instructions are to take the next left, who do I see with his luxury camper? But Vim. How are you, sir?
Oh, very good.
Good.
I just thought about you.
You did, huh?
Yeah. I think maybe I see you today.
Yeah. So once again, a very welcome 2 minutes. When the path turns off, that's typically where Vim pulls off to wait for Anya. So it was nice. She's going to be walking much farther today, and so this will probably be the last time I see him. But I wanted to share with you that there is a special feature of the rain pants that I'm wearing. It's called the Pocket of Optimism, and it's found right here on my left-hand side. And in the Pocket of Optimism is my sunglasses. And it worked, because look at that sky. I may have to put my glasses on after all. I only have 2.5 miles to go, and there's one other little teeny climb, but so far it's been, well, challenging, but then good this last couple of miles. Well, it's time to take off all the rain gear and get out the sunglasses. I'm about, probably half a mile from the accommodation that I hope I will have. Now, out of a list of 38 accommodations, I contacted all of them to say, I'm going to be arriving on such and such a date. Would you have a bed available? And they all wrote back and said, yes. This one place is the only place I could not reach. They had an online presence, but it said no reservations Tuesday or Wednesday, and today is Wednesday. And I don't know if that means they're closed on Wednesday or what, but it looked like they had a lot of room. It looked kind of like a motel. It had a gas station and a convenience store associated with it. So I'm praying that it will be open and that there will be a room available. My clothing and toiletries are going to be there, whether they're open or not. They're probably going to just drop them at the front door. So a big thank you for the encouragement today. Elizabeth, Leah, Marty from the leadership group, thank you for all of yours. Shannon G, thank you. And Jan Jones sent me a very nice, I don't know if I'd call it a poem or just a thought, on Instagram. And Linda W has put a poem together on Facebook. If you're on my regular Facebook page, she's invited you to add to it. Kind of a cute poem about these exploits. So I'll fill you in as soon as I find out what the sleeping arrangements are. But right now, it's only 12:03. And at the end of the path, there is a guest house. They did have a room and 204.
Okay.
Yep. And here we are. Oh, nice. It's always nice to have one bed to sleep on, one bed to put all your junk. And a tea kettle, nice. And a look onto the parking lot, which is fine with me. The bathroom and shower. So that's the end of day 22. My package with my clothes and my toiletries has not arrived yet, but that's okay. I've got ice cream. And I will put my feet up and get my socks to dry out a little bit, take off these shoes. That'll feel very good. And I asked him, I said, I heard you have a washing machine. And he said, yes. And I said, and a dryer? And he said, yes. And I said, what do I have to do to get those? He said, talk to me. So I will be talking to him later on. They're not even really open until 1 or 2, he said. But he saw me sitting on the porch and I think felt sorry for me. So that's the end of day 22. I think we've got a little longer day tomorrow, but it's going to end up at a historical farm. So should be quite interesting. I hope you have a good day yourself. Bye-bye.